Going to the 2006 finals, this is obviously a big discussion and topic. What I want to know first, who was your roommate when Avery Johnson made you guys switch hotels?
DDA Mbanga. Normally,
Big Banger, big DJ, big DJ. Oh snap! Okay.
It worked out for me because DJ didn't speak English that well, so I got to watch whatever I wanted to watch on TV.
You know, that's a big fight in the room with roommates. Is with 100%
on TV. What we watching? Yep. He didn't care, and it was at the point where like we were shut off from the world. So we went over to Fort I think it was Fort Lauderdale at the time. I mean, we're completely away from all we just lived, ate, and breathed basketball for I think like a 3-day period, and it was just ball and being stuck in that room with DJ. That was it. So by the time I got back on that court for I think it was game 4 or game 5, I was ready to fight somebody. I'm like, I'm ready to roll. Like
something that I came across in the research and didn't even really realize is obviously people today know that kind of as the Dwyane Wade series. He breaks out. You're probably the one or maybe 2 primary defender on him. But then I kind of started to connect the dots, and we got Wisconsin, we got Marquette. When did you first come across Dwyane Wade, and then how big of a nightmare was it guarding him, especially when he gets a whistle for a lot?
That relationship started in college. Obviously, being from Milwaukee, him going to Marquette. We didn't see him right away. He was a partial qualifier, so he sat out a year. And I think that might have worked out really well in his favor because when he got to sophomore year, he was a problem, and nobody really knew about him because it wasn't like he coming in as a highly recruited player. And when he came up on the scene, you could tell he was being from Chicago, athletic, smooth type of player. I will say sophomore year, they did come up to Wisconsin. We did beat the hell out of them on our home floor, but you knew he was going to be a special player. Working out in Chicago pre-draft, we became friends, started hanging out. He kind of took me underneath his wing in that aspect. But when we got on the court, obviously, as competitive as can be, and to say, like, playing him as much as I did, I felt like I had a good understanding of what to take away. But when he gets the whistle like he's getting, I put it in the same category as when James Harden had that run of like, you can't touch him. You can't touch him.
And if you can't, the whistle was a mofo, man. If you got that whistle, once keep it a buck. Once you became an all-star, you got some semblance of what that whistle could do.
But not to this level,
Facts.
and not on the biggest stage.
Facts.
And I'm not gonna say like he didn't deserve it or he want like there's some fouls. Absolutely, we try to be physical with him. We try to knock him down, try to knock him on his ass. But when there's games when he's shooting more free throws than our entire team, you know what I mean. That's hard to come back from.
Facts.
And when especially he's a smart player. He's like, and he recognizes when he gets his whistle. And he starts to incorporate that, and it became impossible to keep him out of the paint, and he just took full advantage.
Is he, to both of you, is he the 3rd best shooting guard of all time after Kobe and Mike? You got AI.
How you like your shooting guard? Like, when people come up with this, how you like your shooting guard? Do you like the shooter? You want like a Reggie Miller? Like, how you like your shooting guard?
It's how your impact on the game and how. So just because like could he shoot? Like he wasn't a shooter. He could make shots and he made shots in the clutch. But your style of the game, how did it impact? And it impacted at an extremely high level. We're talking about a guy before guys start teaming up. Back when it was like, okay, you're gonna give us one superstar, maybe 2. Shaq was teetering at that point, but. Safe to say, how many guys led their teams to NBA championships on their rookie contracts?
Not a lot. That's a good ass
question,
right? You know what I mean? And you can talk about AI. You can talk about how many guys have done that.
You would have to go back. you would have to go back into the 80s, and they don't like to do that, D. Harris. That's too far back. They go in late 90s, early 2000s back as far as history. To come up with that person, I think you would have to go like Magic Johnson. Tim Duncan.
Yeah, Tim Duncan.
Yeah, but not very few.
But Tim Duncan also had David Robinson, and I think at that point in time, David was still up. Yeah, up here.
And Sean Elliott wasn't no punk either.
Right.
Yeah.
And Shaq was, he wasn't the Shaq of LA. He was dominant-esque, but not that Kobe and Shaq type, where it was no question it was D Wade's team.
Fact.
Right.
That whole team too. I mean, I would imagine it's somewhat of like, obviously not all those guys are in that prime, but I mean, you say Shaq, you got, and for the guard too, like you got Gary Payton and White Chocolate too.
White Chocolate, Antoine Walker, James Posey.
That's all type of different styles for you to have to guard. Like when he go out the game and you think you got to chill, then he come in with a different flow and style. It's like, dude, I thought I got to chill because GP and White Chocolate, like they got two different vibrations. D Wade, you knew what the assignment was. Stop him from getting 40, whoop-de-whoop. They come in and it's like, yo, what are we on? We got to figure out what are they on before I can figure out how to stop him. I can't imagine. Like, and you playing a lot of minutes, so I can't imagine like you think you getting the rest when D Wade come out of the game and you got to deal with a savvy GP and Jason Williams. So that's a lot of work, man.
But that was kind of like, that's how when we talked earlier about how do you get on the court, how do you make it, for me, it started on the defensive end of the floor. I had to kind of set my offense aside and say, okay, what does this team need that they don't have out there? And I was like, I used to have to take on the Kobe's of the world. So when you watch that game of like, he's got 62 and 3/4, I caught a lot of that at the time. And I enjoyed the challenge. But that's how I kind of got on the floor, and that's how I kind of kicked the door in. He was frying, and he when he started hitting threes from the timeline, it was like at that point in time, and you just knew he was locked in, and he started talking to you. It ain't shit you could do there. It ain't shit you could do. It literally, it was. I mean, and at that point, we just started fouling the shit out of him. Like there was nothing left to do. I think Josh Howard got kicked out with a flagrant 2. That game. I think Avery got kicked out with 2 techs that game, and to the point it was like you just got to throw your hands up.
We hoopers, ain't that the move? After he gets 60 or when he start getting past 40, ain't that the move? Hey, we got to foul. I ain't gonna stick around. I'm gonna foul out. I'm gonna use my 6 and be back in the room. I'll get with y'all after the game. But I thought as hoopers, once they start reaching that Levy level where you can't do nothing with, they got the Scion boost. It's like, man, I'm gonna see y'all in the locker room. I'm gonna use mine. We're gonna have to beat them up, and I'll meet y'all in the locker room. But I ain't standing out here for this. You see that, man?
Yeah.
Man.